Hi, everyone. Raj Gavrola. Welcome to All About Life. And today we're talking about team and what does team mean? You might have heard team, someone say, there's me in team. Okay. Well, the best acronym that I've seen and what I use to announce this Facebook Live session is team stands for Together Everyone Achieves More. Together Everyone Achieves More. And I don't know where you are in your life, but since we're talking about all about life, I do know this, that no matter where you are, no matter how great it is, or maybe you're in a dark place or challenge right now or struggling, maybe even suffering, I don't know. I do know this, that you do have a team. And sometimes on a team, the most difficult thing is knowing how to do the research and talking to people to get the right help. And it's very important that you listened to me and understood exactly what I said. I said the right help. There's a lot of people that can help, but the right help. And that's just something that for your specific situation, you've got to make that determination, that gut feeling, gut instinct, do your research as well. And, there's just a lot of people, if you can really do it, that can really help. And, in life, it's very important that you find the people like that, your support system. Because even your family and your friends, I mean, sure, they're part of your support system, but they're not going to always be congruent with what it is that your dreams are, your mission, your vision, your goals or aspirations, or maybe you don't have some of those things because they're in their own world. However, they are still a part of your team, and together is what we all need to keep in mind first. And that means that you can elicit their input, their feedback. That doesn't mean you're going to do it. Or you can really someone that you have as a coach or an advisor can really be someone that you take advice from, and taking the right advice is also hugely important. Those two things, the right help and the right advice, can do worlds of wonder for you. And then not having that, or having bad advice or bad help, can put you back not just 6 months, but years, if not decades. Because what's going to happen is you're going to try to correct those errors. And sometimes you feel that it's your fault that it's going on, and it really isn't. Usually it's a miscommunication or some type of error. And this does happen. And the best thing to do then is to just really go and keep looking for the right help and right advice. Now, one of the things that you can do to do that is just when you're doing your research, especially for your specific situation. And, life can be very personal and private. Just sort of understand where this person's coming from. What's their why? Why are they doing what they're doing? What are their dreams? Can they relate to something that you're telling them? And, me being a life coach and having my successes in adversity, and then also being an expert on human performance, life, organizational development, and breakthroughs, I've just really been able to do this, and I can really understand and have compassion and help people succeed. Whereas earlier on in my career, before I was doing this, I would never dream of some of the challenges and some of the successes and exhilarations that people have. We're all unique different individuals. And we all have different backgrounds, different cultures, different values, different belief systems or philosophy of life. I mean, there's just certain things that are predisposed in the way that we present ourselves that are just things that we automatically make assumptions should be there. And how could somebody else not see that? But it's not always the truth. It's not always the case. And the real key there with togetherness is your ability to build a relationship. And some of my best relationships aren't relationships that where I agree or they agree with everything that we say to each other. No. It's the relationships that really value each other as far as being able to have a conversation and being able to come together in order to create something by listening to one another that's greater. And that's not easy to do because, like, even with some people who are family members and close to me, just because of the dynamics of that situation and knowing, that they're family or they're close friends, it's difficult. So that's the real essential, the togetherness part. Then the everyone part is just simply, and all about life, you just simply have to realize that you are in society. And somewhere out there, there's a place for your belonging that can really make it easier for you, learn how to do it easier. But you are a part of this society. And in my wisdom, I believe that everyone should have a place in our society and should actually be successful in our society. I don't see any reason why that shouldn't happen. However, and there's varied reasons why some people don't think like that. And that's them. And so that's what together means, is that, you are a part of society and that you have people all around. And it's just sometimes being able to direct yourself into that and making that perception or that wisdom shift so that you know what happens there. And then the third is achieve. What can you achieve? Most people, you can achieve a lot more than you really realize is possible. That is just really the infinite ability of a human being. And no matter your situation, whether it's good or not so good or it's amazing, you can go so much further. But what you need is the right help and the right advice, the right support system. There's nobody. It looks like they do it all by themselves, but they don't. You could go out right now and run a 3-mile race. And I would tell you, yes, you ran it by yourself, but in reality, there were a lot of people that were part of your support system. There were. You just don't realize it. Whether it was your PE teacher back in 4th grade or somebody who's been talking to you about running, et cetera. Now, of course, you did most of the work, and definitely you deserve the rewards and the credit and all of that for doing what you did running that 3 miles. Those are yours. They had a very, very small part, but they did have a part. And so that always makes it easier when you realize that you need to inspire and motivate your passion to produce those, or to deliver those better outcomes. Or you have to inspire and motivate your passion to deliver those outcomes that you're looking for. And it's something that happens consistently over time, but it's like anything else. When you set a course and you have the end and you realize what your objectives are and you can visualize yourself succeeding in it, and then you consistently go about it with the how and then the what you do to do it, then eventually with the right help, the right advice, and the right support system, you can make it happen. What happens a lot of time is people try to do these endeavors without that. And sure, they may gain some great momentum, just like people start at the gym in January. They feel great and they're like, yeah, I feel a little more muscular, a little more toned, like have more stamina, I just feel fit, got a little energy. But then they run out. Because why? They're just relying on themselves and they don't have the expertise, or they're not a professional in that area. And so they don't know how to really keep going forward. Now, those that have a strong why, or a dream, or a vision, or visualize themselves in a certain way, then they're not going to stop. They're going to go seek out those resources. Whether it's a coach like me, a consultant like me, an expert like me, an author like me, you might read my book, do my workbook, or whatever it may be. So that's what the achieve part is. And you just measure that and you make it to where it fits in your schedule. And so for example, I noticed that in the mornings, after I did my mental performance exercises, I would study vocabulary. Well, for whatever reason, in the morning is my high energy time. I have good energy in the morning. I have a lot of clarity in the morning. And reading the first thing in the morning, I can do it. But what I find is that I can use that time more on the important things for me to get accomplished. Now, that doesn't mean I don't warm up in the morning with other things that I do. Like I watch the news, I watch financial news, I watch some other things and, do all of that, eat breakfast, do my mental performance skills, do those things, yes. And so what I did is that in the afternoon, I'm challenged, like around 2:00, 2:30. I don't know, maybe it's what I eat. I don't know. It doesn't happen all the time, but some days it does. Or it's raining like today, it's a little slower. And usually on rainy days, what I do is I wear bright clothing, but I notice I don't have bright clothing because I didn't know it was raining. I hadn't really been outside. And so what I did is I took that vocabulary learning, which I learned 10 words a day through this program I'm in, a book, and I put it at 2:30 or 3:00 or sometime in the afternoon. And it just totally invigorates me because, it's a little competitive. It's a little challenging because after the words, they have a little quiz and, you build it up, and that's exactly what it is. This program has 10 levels, and each level builds on itself. And you can't go to the next level until you've gotten certain proficiency at one level. And if you don't have that proficiency, you got to repeat it. But by doing that, you can see how everything just builds on one another. And it just gets a little better, and it actually builds your vocabulary without overwhelming your mind. You're not just trying to memorize something or learn something for the short term. It's going to stick with you, and it shows you how to use those vocabulary words so that you can use them in your regular life, and they do become a part of your vocabulary, which is obviously the reason you learn those vocabularies. But now that I've gotten to level 7, I finished, and I was challenged with level 7. That was the first time I had to go back and repeat the words. And, it just becomes a little more challenging. And now I'm on level 8, and I look at some of those words, and some of them, to me, I don't know what makes them a level 8 word. They look like they could be in level 3, but the author has them there for a reason, and I'm learning. And the neat thing about this program is it gives you a little bit of the origin of the word. Did it come from the French, the English, the Dutch? Things that the Greek, things that I never really paid much attention to those things. How did language come here? Do you know a lot of the words that came here were because people immigrated here and they brought certain words and they just sort of became part of the English language over time? Just naturally happened because people just started saying the word like that. And so they took two words and they truncated it or they expanded it and it became part of a word. So I don't really know how a word gets put into the dictionary. Like, for example, can I just make up a word and put it in dictionary? I don't know. I don't know how that works really, but I do know that there's like some type of vocabulary body or dictionary body, wordsmith body. And so that's the achieve part. And then the more part. The more part is always the most interesting part. The more part is that as you start doing this, you'll see that the things that don't seem like they're a part of what it is you're trying to accomplish actually are. You taking care and having a social life, or going to family outing, or playing with the kids, or making dinner or breakfast. It all supports what you do. It really does. And you just got to really realize that it does. I used to think, meditation, I understand the purpose and everything, and it makes sense. And sometimes it does wonders for me, sometimes it doesn't. So I tell myself, I do it for 20 minutes. Some days I do it for an hour. Some days, whatever. I do it for a different time. Just sort of, as long as I knew I felt like I meditated. Then I realized, that's part of my challenge. What causes stress are a few things. Stress can be caused by a relationship where two people aren't interacting and communicating with each other, or instead they're avoiding each other, or they're in their mind, they're thinking negatively about each other. That's one. The other is not enough time. All right. That's two. Not enough time. And then the third one is just knowledge. Like if you are ever know the story of Mozart, the Solitary was the guy that was trying to drive him mad, make him crazy. And the way he did it was he was telling him to write a play in like some unreasonable amount of time. So he'd just be overwhelmed, or write a piece of music in some amount of time and he'd be overwhelmed. And sure enough, it would like literally almost drive him crazy. And that's what happens to some people also, is the knowledge, the basketball, the knowledge, the foundation. And you could be doing something for a long, long time. And you may think you're really good, whether it's in business, sports, in life, as a parent, as a friend, as a family member. Here's what I want you to know, though, is that you can always do a little better. And when I say always do a little better, that doesn't mean to push yourself. That means to realize and learn how to do it easier. Doing what I do now and having the expertise that I do, the way that I'm able to actually talk with people in less time and get more done is so different than previous. Before, I wouldn't have known how to do that. I was very task oriented, very siloed in my little realm. But, I've obviously advanced from that. So that's what I have for you today. Together, everyone achieves more. So, your why, and I've heard lots of things about your why and how to get it. And, one of my tools, that the relationship between your inspiration and motivation, or motivation and inspiration, you answer that and that's your why. But here's another simpler way. Another simpler way is just, what is your dream? Yeah, it really is worth knowing what your dreams are and actually living your greatest dreams, because as you do, you're going to find that opportunities come to you. Now, you may not get exactly what you're thinking about, but as you do go through that, opportunities will come to where you never even imagined, and that's part of the more part. Or you may get your dream and it may just be so much greater than you could have ever imagined. But we're just making those little adjustments. We just make a pivot. We go around the obstacle, whatever it is. And through all of that, we realize that we do have the ability. And it's always easier when we learn how to do it easier with the right support system, the right help, and the right advice. So that's what I have for you today on It's All About Life. At 4 o'clock, I'll be doing this Facebook Live session for experiencing intelligent breakthroughs in your sports performance and life. My zone effect. I had a zone effect. My zone effect is that I have to inspire and motivate my energy. And see, anytime you're thinking negatively or something's not quite right, just stop, take a breath, and tell yourself to inspire and motivate your energy, raise your energy. And with that, you'll see that your feeling and your ability to rationally think exponentially increases. Exponentially increases. So I also have a meaningful trigger for this evening. This evening, I'm actually spending some time with my family watching a movie, which I haven't done in a long time. So I do that every once in a while. So I'm looking forward to that. Something here resonates with you and I can help. You can contact me at 864-569-2315, Raj at rajgavrola.com.